Hello, everyone. It's good to be back. Um, in this week's journey, the message that I received is that there has been an energetic shift. Now, this shift, one of the particulars is financial security. And this comes through for those who have been consciously manifesting for the purpose of, bringing in financial security. Not that they're doing it for the money, but that they are doing it so that they can secure their manifestations for generations to come. So we're talking about long-term security, um, legacy type of wealth. And for those who have already been clearing their energetic field, so clearing space, cutting ties and energetic cords or soul contracts with things which no longer serve a purpose. And for those who have been clearing this space, the message I am getting is you have been successful. The ties have been cut. The ties that are bound are that bind are no longer there. So you have been successful in cutting these cords and clearing these energies and these soul contracts, which have served as a block to that financial security, that legacy energy. But there is one key that is left to obtain this financial security and the abundance that you're seeking, that we are seeking, because this is for a collective. Now, in this, I want you to try and use your imagination a little or a lot, as much as you possibly can, because that imagination, that creativity is a big part of this manifestation. So imagine this huge room, okay? And it holds all of your treasures, all of your keepsakes, your memorabilia. It even has a safe for all of your gold, your silver, and those generational valuables which are passed down and meant to grow and bring security for generations to come. Okay. Now, this room has been collecting everything you have picked up over your entire lifetime. So it is not just storing all of the happy memories, um, the wealth and the abundance. What happens energetically is that this room stores everything, all the energy that you have picked up along the way throughout your life. And some of these energies, they served a purpose at one point, and And clearing this room, we become grateful for the purpose that they served, but we release them because they no longer hold a purpose in this room, in our lives, right? Now, every time you need to go into this room, imagine that you open the door carefully and slowly to keep things from falling down on you when you open the door. All right. Now, one day, something happens, and this is what we might see as a tower moment. It is that chaotic moment where nothing makes sense. It may leave you feeling as though you have lost a piece of yourself. Okay. So, somehow, somewhere deep within you, even in all the chaos, even in the trying to pick up the pieces again, somewhere deep inside you, you know that if you can find this lost part of yourself, we'll call it an object, right? So, this lost object, it will not only bring value, security, and freedom, but it will change this fated moment. It it will help you alchemize this fated moment. So in this search, you find yourself looking high and low, and you are retracing your steps before the disaster struck. And before you know it, you have searched everywhere outside this room, outside your home. You've retraced your steps to the grocery store, to a friend's house, through phone calls you've had. You have gone through every space imaginable outside of this room. So, because it is nowhere to be found outside, we know we must clear out this room. We must be able to open this door so that we can go in, because this room holds all of our energy, all of our energies, all of the energies that have collected over this lifetime. Now, it is going to take time. This part of the process takes time. Okay, so there's patience, there's temperance, there's perseverance, there is, these moments of wanting to give up, right? But we push through this. I mean, this room is packed from floor to ceiling and wall to wall. And you've even forgotten just how big this room is. But it must be done because you know you must find this piece of yourself that has been lost. So you start, you start clearing. And in a moment of silence, maybe reflection, you remember that there is a safe inside this room. Now, that sounds like great news, but somehow the key to this safe has also been lost in all of the chaos, or it's somewhere buried underneath everything inside this room, right? So you figure you're going to go searching for this safe because this is where the most valuable pieces of you are held. And perhaps in cleaning out the room and looking for the safe, we know we'll find the key. Now, in the beginning, you find those things closest to the door are things you picked up not too long ago. And maybe you find things you thought you lost long ago, but to no avail, no key, no safe, not yet. Some of what you do find, you can still find a place for it somewhere else in your home. So you polish it up and you place these items around the house for others to see. The thing is, the further you get into the room, the more you begin to realize that there is not enough space inside your home to display or keep these items without having to replace another. So it takes time to decide which is more important, which items you can live without, and what you really want to display for those who enter into your home. So you create 3 bins: a yard sale bin, a donation bin, and a trash bin. Anything you cannot find space for inside the rest of your home goes into one of these 3 bins. And as you get deeper into the room, you can start seeing the floor. So you take small breaks, you sit in the middle of the room in this small space, and you begin to imagine the things you can use this room for. I mean, from where you're sitting, it looks pretty big. So maybe you imagine using it as a home gym, a studio, maybe a small office. Who knows? You might be able to fit a guest room in there. But it's these imaginations that trigger the motivation to to continue clearing this room. So you get busy unpacking old boxes, throwing out what doesn't belong, and maybe you even have a yard sale hoping to reclaim some of the item's previous value. And so if you have adult children, family, friends, maybe you call them up and tell them, hey, come on over. I'm having a yard sale. Why don't you just take what you want before it is sold? However, some of these people may not want any of it because everyone has a closet or two, right? They need to unpack their own closet and maybe they don't have the room for another item, while others may come there just to gawk and make snide remarks about what a mess things appear to be and how there isn't anything of value there. And maybe some cannot even imagine that you have ever held anything of value at all, just by the looks of you. I mean, you've been through a chaotic moment. You are having to unpack some heavy boxes, some old boxes. And then you have those who will sift through the items you've laid out, and perhaps they find something that they gave you, okay? And this is a sentimental value. And they become offended that you're now parting ways with it. So they walk away in a huff, right? While some are only there to see what it is you have been hiding all these years. Now, at the end of the day, you find your old items are not delivering anything close to the value they once held, and now you've lost a couple of family members, friends, and even some of your neighbors and town folk think you've lost your mind. Did you see what she had on display? Did you see what he had parked over there? So you decide to donate the things you think others could benefit from and just trash the rest, right? Now, all this movement and activity has people talking. I mean, your friends, your family, your coworkers, those you meet and deal with outside your home have never seen this room. They've only seen what you had on display in the front yard. So they have no clue what is left to go through. All they know is you are busy. They don't see you as often anymore. And because you're on a mission, you're not answering the phone, and even the evening post is stacking up outside the front door, right? For those who actually get the evening post anymore, but I think you get the picture. So most are laughing and cutting jokes. And when they do see you, they laugh and ask, "Oh, yeah, any luck with that junk yet? You find a place to get rid of that stuff?" And others may, say you're never going to make it out of that room. I don't even know why you're trying. You had so much junk in the front yard, like there's more. you know, Give up. Like, why are you putting yourself through this? Right? And now everyone is laughing, and some are still kind of saying, I can't wait to see how this goes. And even though it may be funny to everyone else, you leave them laughing and cutting jokes because in that, you are no longer just motivated. Now you are determined. Now, little do you know at this time that what you're doing is you are cutting energetic ties and cords with those objects, memories, and the people, places, and things you picked these items up from. Remember, everything is energy, right? And just because we are clearing space, just because we are releasing the energy, doesn't mean that the energy that is attached to the person, place, or thing we picked it up from is doing the same thing. Now, that's just a note. So, I mean, with some of these objects, sentimental memorabilia, things like that, you ask yourself, do I really want to let go of this? I mean, maybe it's attached to a good memory that brought great times, and maybe some represent the people who have passed on or that you no longer see, who had an impact on your life. And you feel a little heartbreak or sadness in having to let it go. And so you sit with it a while before deciding exactly what to do with it. Now, eventually, you have to find a place for it. And so you do, you release the energy, whether in a donation, giving it back to the person, or just throwing it in the trash. Either way, it must go, and it goes. So this process takes time. Depending on how many things we've stored up in this room, it can take weeks, months, maybe even years of going in, looking around, digging a few things out, leaving the most difficult ones to release in the back. Because maybe there's just an emotional attachment you can't see yourself letting go of just yet. Either way, you work, you persevere. Now imagine that at the end of each day, you come in and you sweep out any dirt or debris that was shaken loose and fell to the floors. You dust off any flat surfaces. And each time you do this, the room becomes larger. But your heart sinks just a little because you still haven't even found the safe, let alone the key. Now remember, you're searching for a part of yourself, a piece of yourself that you know exists. You can feel it now. It's calling you. However, this day, as you sit back and take in those things that are left, you see one shiny corner of this safe, and you find yourself being inspired. Now you've got your motivation, you've got your determination, and you see this shiny corner of this safe, and your memory starts coming back that, oh, yeah, that's where I put it. Oh my God, look at all the stuff going on, but I can move that. I can move these objects. I can do this. You have that inspiration now. And at some point, this room is finally empty. And all that is left is you, this safe, a window, and another door. Okay? Now, this is a door that you forgot was even in this room. Maybe you never even knew it was in this room. Because remember, these energies have been storing up inside this room for your entire life. And many of us have had very impactful childhood, meaning we have taken on a lot of different energies in our younger years. And so a majority of what goes into this room goes in those younger years, right? So you have this window, you have the safe, you have this other door, and you're in this empty room. Now, the thing is, in all your searching and all your cleaning, you still have not found the key to the safe. It's an empty room, right? But you look around for the first time in a very long time, and you just sit in the expanse of this room, taking in its size, the proportions of it, because now you can see just how large this room is. So you begin to realize that it is literally the largest room in your home. The thing is now you're tired. I mean, you're exhausted. You've spent all of this energy, all of this time, all of these emotions clearing out what no longer served a purpose in your home. It was a lot of work, right? So maybe at first you just go in there to get away from everything or everyone, from the mocking and the laughing and the teasing and the joking and the mess, you know, that was created by this chaotic moment, right? So it becomes a place of solitude, of peace and quiet where you can hear yourself think and feel and just be. Now, quite some time passes, and one day you realize you've been sitting in this empty room for months and nothing has changed. I mean, it could be weeks, it could be months, it could be years for some of us. But we realize we've been sitting in this empty room and nothing has changed. You've just found yourself retreating to this room every day, this place of peace. Yet on this day, as you sit looking at the walls and the window across the room, a desire builds up, a desire to see something different, to see this room transformed. The thing is, you've spent so much time in this space resting from all of the work that went into clearing it out that you have forgotten exactly what it is you want that room to become. I mean, you had some ideas in the beginning, right? You know, one thing you do know is you never want it to be filled the way it was when you started, because now you can see the work that goes into it, right? The value of the work. So maybe you spend some time looking around at antique shops or going to local malls, boutiques, yard sales. Maybe you find yourself browsing the web for ideas. But no matter where you go or what you see, you just cannot see yourself filling this space with things that one day will no longer serve a purpose and just become another thing in the room, another thing at a yard sale. I mean, this room is enormous now that it's cleaned out and empty. It could hold a fleet of new automobiles, a basketball court, an indoor swimming pool. I mean, it is a vast room. The thing is, no matter how hard you look, you just can't seem to find anything worth putting in that room. It took months of energy, maybe years of sweat, tears, aching muscles to bring it back to this state. And now you have decided that not just anything is going to do, right? This is where we learn to become mindful of the energies we fill this space with. A time when we must find the beauty and the value that already exists inside this room. The thing is, we can become so mindful that we find ourselves just sitting in a dark room at a dead end, or so that is our perception in that time. Now, eventually, after looking and searching and thinking about everything under the sun, we may begin to feel as though all it will ever be is an empty room. I mean, we have thought about an added guest room, an office, a gym, a garage, a pool, an Airbnb, but nothing seems to satisfy our desire. You see, through this process of searching for our true value, we are making space for the new. And when the room is finally empty, we can often feel a sense of lack setting in, as though nothing of value is there because all we see is an empty space, right? And a safe with no key. you know, So some may even feel at times as though they have nothing left to give, and that maybe everyone had a reason to laugh. And maybe they were right when they said they'd never make it out of there. Because as we look around, it appears as though we have nothing to show for our work except this huge empty room. What we do not yet realize is that the dead end is only a dead end to those things which no longer serve a purpose. This whole time, we have been ending a major cycle of living in a mindset that abundance and prosperity and wealth and financial security comes through outside means. And for those who have done the work, this is no longer the belief, because in the process of it all, we have not only ended a cycle, we've broken generational curses, we've cut cords, we've released soul contracts and cleared out a new space, but we have found sanctuary in that inner room. a sanctuary where we released old traumas. We healed wounds from the past. We found forgiveness for the mess we created and piled up. We found a place of rest, a place of retreat, of meditation and contemplation, of silence and stillness. And in it all, what was happening as we set out on our search for value and financial security in this manifestation has been a true recalibration of the heart, right? We have been dismantling walls, expanding and giving ourselves the freedom to create from the love within. Those things that make our heart sing and smile and dance and cry tears of joy, right? So there's been a recalibration. So just imagine for a minute that at some point, sitting in that empty room, we remember this window across the room there, right? Now, it really hasn't been that significant because it has collected years of weather and debris. Okay? So we clean the window to add more light, to let some of that fresh sunshine in. And once it is clean, we realize we can see clearly what is on the outside of this room. Now, perhaps for some, it's just another home across the road, a park, a corner store, right? The thing is, we are finally seeing from a new perspective. It is no longer cloudy. So we stand gazing out this window, taking in the sights, and for a moment, our heart smiles as we turn to see the room itself in a whole new light. This is the moment we see the fireplace, and instantly we imagine ourselves in front of a nice, cozy fire, and a vision begins to take form. Only now it is from a whole new view. And suddenly we find ourselves wanting more of that light and warmth to fill this room. Now, nothing has changed about the room other than the amount of light in it. Yet the room itself is beginning to take on a new life. So we can see the intricate work and the architecture of it, the beautiful molding around the ceilings and the floors shine. And we feel ever so grateful that we took this time. And now we can stand back and smile because suddenly this room has more potential than we first imagined. And at this time, it was 5:55 on the clock. But in this room, as we're standing and admiring the beauty of it, the majesty of the walls and the architecture and the archway over the window and the ceilings and the patterning and the wood floors, okay, there is a knock on the door. Now, it's not the door we entered, it's the other door, the one we have not yet opened, the one we did not even remember being there until the room was empty. And at first, this knock on the door startles us out of our little daydream, and we kind of catch our breath real quick as we look around the room for anyone who may have come in through the house. But there's no one. We are the only one there. And we know no one has ever used that door. It was buried. It was buried behind boxes and bags and old photo albums and tools and toys and trash and, things we didn't even remember picking up. There was no getting through that door until now. And we have no idea where that door leads. Okay? Or what is knocking? So it is quite literally unknown. So we ask ourselves, do we answer it? I mean, we've lived with this room all our lives, and this is the first we've heard a knock. This is the first we've seen it, right? I mean, maybe something just fell against it from the other side. Maybe it's a closet, and we think, oh God, please not another room. Like, you know, that would be just my luck, right? So we take a deep breath and we turn the knob. And as soon as the door is open, just a sliver, just a crack, we hear this small, high pitched burst of glee. And before we can push it closed again out of surprise, this little rosy cheeked child with big wide eyes and a smile that takes you by surprise pushes into the room with sheer enthusiasm and announces, "Hey, my name is Charisma, and today is your lucky day." Holy snap, right? Where did you come from? I mean, this is your cat in the hat moment, right? But as you shout out in surprise, this child laughs even louder and runs over to the window, looking out in amazement, exclaiming, "I would love a window look like this. What a wonderful view! I've never seen it from this view before. You must love this." And turning toward the fireplace, exclaims, "Oh, wow, you have to start a fire. You must start a fire. How fantastic is this room?" Right? Now, Charisma is definitely a great name. And you suspect that maybe you're being charmed because there's an element of magic in this child who is now peering into the darker corners of the room and says, "Gee, why is this room so empty? And what is that big old safe doing over there?" Right? Now you don't really plan on having a conversation with a child today. But this one does bring a whole new element to this room. And truthfully, you're a little intrigued. So you kind of let out a sigh and say, "Well, I don't suppose we will know what is inside that safe. I lost the key. And I'm really not sure just what to do with the room now." But before you exhale, Charisma, and all their delight, replies, "What is there to even think about?" So it's running to the corner of the room, saying, "I bet a giraffe would fit there." And looking up at the ceiling, "I bet a carousel could go over there." And all the most beautiful flowers grow outside that window every spring. We could make a whole flower garden around that window, and you would never even know a wall was there. You could even make a tabletop for tea out of the safe, right? Okay, 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 you chime in. Let's slow down a bit here. Okay, no giraffes and no carousel is coming into this room. I mean, you're thinking about all the hard work that you just put into it. So, how about you come back tomorrow at the same time and maybe we can come up with an even better idea because truthfully, you are intrigued by the vision and the imagination and the charisma and the vibrancy that just came bursting through this door. It was that day, that moment, when you felt the sun shining through the window, when you felt a warmth and a smile, when the door blew open and joy and charisma and laughter came bursting through, something happened. Something changed. You felt it. But as you lean your back against a wall in your empty room, you wonder, was that real? Did that really just happen? And you may even find yourself giggling or laughing out loud just at the insanity of it all. I mean, a giraffe, right? Still, there is an anticipation. There's a new spark of desire. And you may even find yourself not being able to sleep as you realize that, wait, something as tall and grand as a giraffe or a carousel could fit. And a disappearing wall behind a flower garden, well, that's that's kind of cool, right? And maybe you have even thought that setting up the safe as a tea table and serving cookies to this newfound friend Charisma would be a brilliant idea. I mean, she brought in a spark of life, right? So now by morning, you have already dreamt up a whole new world outside this space. Maybe not a giraffe and a carousel, but I think you're getting the picture. This is the magic you do not see coming. The next time you step into this room to meet this child filled with charisma and joy, when you step through that door, lying on top of the safe is a key inscribed with the words you already are. And as you open the safe, everything you thought you lost, everything stolen from you by scavengers in the dark of the night, it is all there and more. From the daintiest prize to the most valuable possessions, and it spills out into the room, filling this room, totally transforming it. You already are valuable. You already are more than enough. You already are abundant. It is as if while you were in that moment of stillness, imagining all you could do in this room, that this child was at work. Now you find yourself standing in the magic of it all because you realize you never needed a safe or a key. You realize you are the safe and the key, and you are the only one who can lock and unlock the abundance that flows from within. And that, like a magician, in all your cutting and clearing and all your searching, all that time you spent in that empty room thinking and dreaming and wondering, what if? Your inner child was busy alchemizing and creating, but there is something special about this one. her name is Charisma. So she's not just any child. She is a child with a gift, an eternal gift. She is that value that you had been searching for all that time, all the time that you searched outside that room, all the time you searched outside your home. This child was behind that closed door in that empty room, and it only took answering the knock. And you didn't even have to open the door wide, just a sliver, right? Give me a second. Now, when you realize this, you think if people didn't believe I was going to make it through this process, and if it's magic that they want to see, they're never going to believe this one, right? But what many do not realize is that this room is the only thing between us and the life of abundance and security that we are looking for, right? It is not until we clear out this room, accept this childlike energy, accept this gift, right? And create what we love, that we are able to unlock the abundance and the financial security that we've been searching for and trying to manifest. So, you see, many of us have been cutting ties with people, places, and things, energies that at one time served a purpose. And sometimes the residual energies left behind can have us lingering in the dark corners for a while. I mean, we're talking about a lifetime of energy for most of us. And it's not been a small feat, to say the very least, right? I mean, some of those energetic cords, soul contracts, generational curses, old beliefs and illusions, they didn't just cut us when they appeared, when we came into them, when we collected them. But when we go through them, there are times when we go through this space and we find these memories, and the pain of the cut is still there. So we don't just walk out of our empty room every day looking like a runway model or a brand new car. We sweat, we cry, we work to the core of the matter. We perform a sort of energetic heart surgery in some cases. Okay? Needless to say, there's always a recovery phase, and it is in that recovery phase that it is most often in the empty room, and this is where the child appears. You see, opening the window and allowing the warmth of the sunshine, right? A little sunshine to come in, awakens this inner spirit, this inner child, this charisma, this eternal gift, right? And this brings the joy, the passion for living, the excitement for what is to come. It is that eternal charisma that consistently creates a life of fullness that we never could have imagined until we empty that room and listen to this child. We answer the door, right? So Today, the guidance that I'm receiving is that while you are in this empty room and you are admiring the expanse of it, or maybe you are reflecting or recovering or resting, or maybe you are wondering, is this all I have to offer? Open your window a little, clean the glass a little, let the sunshine come in. Feel the warmth, even if it is just a smile, because it is that light, it is that warmth that is going to have your gift knocking at the door. That part of you that you thought you had lost, that part of you that you heard calling you into that room in the first place. It is that light. And we must answer that door. We must answer that call in order for this room to be filled. Okay? So, Spirit is saying, laugh as much as you breathe and live life as though it is rigged in your favor, because you, my dear hearts, somewhere inside this process, you have chosen destiny over that fated moment. When you answer that call, you are choosing destiny. And everything you touch now comes to life. You see, when we step into that eternal charisma, when we allow ourselves to laugh as much as we breathe, when we can go within and sit in this space and release the judgments and the projections and the illusions and these energetic cords and ties that have had us bound to people, places, things, and experiences that have no place in our life today, other than to block and hinder us from reaching this moment. When we do this work, when we answer that call, we are stepping into source energy. We are allowing source energy to flow from the top of our head to the bottom of our feet. And that is life. That brings life. It gives life. It expands life. It brings joy. It brings peace. It brings clarity. And it's not to say that we won't collect more junk boxes. It's not to say that we won't collect more energies or you know stack more and or find other things to place inside this room. But this room is expansive, and now we have the place and the space to see what we are putting in this room, to see if it fits, to see if it matches the motif that we are creating. It is a place to store energies that serve others now. That perhaps maybe we have an overflow, right, in our creation as we go along with this gift of who we are, with this clarity, with this recognition, this spark of desire and passion to create not even despite what everyone else thinks or says, but because that is who we are. Mm, sorry. But we have now an overflow, and we now have a place to store that overflow so that when the rainy day does come, or when we find a neighbor or a friend or a coworker or a family member or an animal, you name it, a stranger walking down the street, and something inside of us says, "Hey, I got what that person needs." We don't have to go searching through a cluttered space stacked wall to wall, ceiling to ceiling, and spend a lifetime digging around for it. We know where it's at because we've cleaned our room. We've done the work. The key is to accept the gift, to accept that part of you that is calling you, that part of you that longs to be free, that longs to be in joy. And it may look crazy to absolutely everybody outside your house. It may even look crazy to those living in your house that have never been in this room. But there is something inside of you, and you feel it. And that's the energetic cord you need to pull on, because that's the energetic cord that is going to bring your dreams come true. Because Spirit is showing me dreams coming true. This is almost miracle energy. This is an eternal charisma that is your magical power that heals. It heals the energy so that the financial security, or maybe it doesn't even have to be financial security. It's abundance. It's abundance and the ability to prosper. It is a healing that lasts for generations to come. It is an energy that builds happy memories. This is hitting the jackpot in the spirit. Now, this jackpot may come through as legacy wealth, it may come through as generational wealth, financial security. But for those who are still wondering where it's all at because all they see is an empty room, know that the key is in you. It is that part that has been calling you. That part that when you tap into it for that fleeting moment, it makes your heart smile. And if only you could be that way, right? If only. That's the part you pull on. That's the key. So, Spirit is showing me the Midas touch, where it's like everything you touch in that energy turns to gold, but in this light, it grows a life of its own. So you really only need to touch one thing, because that one thing is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And I mean, you can go around touching other things. Just know that everything you touch, you bring to life. And that when you lean toward love, that is your guide, right? So laugh as much as you breathe and look inside yourself all you want. You already are more than enough. So live life like everything is rigged in your favor. And I am going to leave leave this message here. Um, for those who would like to go a little bit deeper, I think I may um, do another journey on this very message of cutting and clearing ties and um, some of the deeper aspects that may take place in that. We will see. But if you're interested in joining, I am starting a new Discord community, and I will have the link to that community in the description box below. Until then, and until we see each other again, may you be bliss.